Hi, I'm Dr. Crystal Collier. I study how to strengthen your brain skills. And empathy is one of the most important executive functioning skills, but it doesn't really fully develop until the second stage of brain development when the higher level executive functioning skills really come online. So, what exactly is empathy? There are a couple types of empathy. The first kind is called affective empathy. It's what we usually think of when we think of empathy. Affective empathy is our ability to experience another person's feelings with them. Cognitive empathy is the ability to put ourselves in another person's shoes to really understand and predict what another person is thinking. Wow, empathy seems really deep and serious and possibly painful. So, what exactly is the point of having empathy? Why should this skill be something you want to develop? Humans and many animals are hardwired to feel the feelings of others because of these guys, mirror neurons. These brain cells light up when we see other people doing or feeling something, like joy or pain. Oh, poor guy. The mirror neurons in our brain light up in almost the exact same areas of another person's brain who is doing or feeling something. All we have to do is think about or imagine how someone else is feeling for these neurons to light up in our brain, which helps us understand why people do the things they do. Mirror neurons help us build networks that help us learn why and how people do things and how they feel. These networks are the hardware that we use to form deep emotional connections to those around us. The benefits of building your empathy skills have long-term effects. Turns out that the people with more empathy skills experience less depression, more social bonding, and attract friends more easily. People who avoid or show less empathy experience more loneliness, which leads to an increase in self centeredness and less connection with others. This makes a pretty good case for developing this skill, but it's critical to remember that all executive functioning skills grow according to the brain's rule: use it or lose it. We won't form those thick networks for our executive functioning skills, including empathy, unless we practice them, especially while our brain is developing. Here's a really interesting brain study that illustrates this point. Researchers scanned two groups of students when they were thinking of empathic responses to different scenarios. You can see the frontal lobe light up for both groups. It makes sense because that's where empathy happens. Then the researchers asked half of the young people to play a first-person shooter game for 2 hours a day. Look what happens. There's a big reduction in frontal lobe activity for the gamers. When asked, they said they had to dumb down their empathy in order to kill people in the game. The researchers were so amazed by how strong the use it or lose it effect was, they asked the gamers to stop playing and retested their empathy 2 weeks later. It went back to normal frontal lobe activity. Phew! Okay, but I wonder what would happen if they kept playing that kind of game for years? Would their frontal lobes develop the empathy skills they need? If their empathy skills don't fully develop, how might it affect them during their lifetimes? Might they feel lonely even when they're with people? They may even feel tons of anxiety because instead of going out and doing stuff, they might get used to avoiding their social anxiety and grow brain networks that don't know how to deal with negative feelings. So, how can we keep our frontal lobe actively growing empathy skills? Let's use Brené Brown's 4-step approach. The first step is to practice taking the other person's perspective and putting ourselves in their shoes. This is so hard because a lot of times we want to jump in and share our thoughts, our feelings, our perspectives and ideas. But that doesn't leave much room for the other person or for us to demonstrate empathy. The second step in building empathy skills is to stay out of judgment and listen. Again, a really hard thing to do. Everyone judges. That's the easy part. But keeping those judgments to ourselves so that we can listen to the other person is the hard part. But what are we listening for exactly? Emotions. No, not yours. The feelings of others. That's step 3. You have to have some emotional literacy here and be able to identify and label your own emotions to spot them in others. Feeling charts can be helpful. Step 4, communicate that you recognize their emotions. Now, this sounds difficult, but it's easy if you know some good empathy starters, like these. It's natural to feel sad. I would feel sad in that situation. Or, I can tell that you're really upset. Or, dude, I'm so sorry that you're feeling down. Here's a discussion question for you. Do people show more or less empathy in our world today? What is happening to our empathy skills and why? Does technology use play a part? Digital connections are cool, but may not be very deep. So get out there and experience more things and meet more people. Contact theory research shows that the more time you spend getting to know others, listening to their stories and imagining what they think and feel, the less separated and judgy you'll feel. And of course, the stronger your connections, relationships, and empathy skills will be.